Welcome to Wilderness Wanderers, the channel dedicated to everyone who loves hiking and the great outdoors.
Today we're sharing 5 amazing hikes in Idyllwild, from the easiest to the crazy difficult. Here we go.
Follow me to the sunshine, come and see what it feels like. Higher, higher than we climb, I know somewhere that you and I we can stay a while.
Hike 1 is a beginner's hike on the Ernie Maxwell Trail. Beginning at Humber Park at 6,460 feet, it descends to 5,720 feet.
Although this trail has some minor challenges, it is easily doable for the beginner. It cuts along the mountain and is a 5-mile out and back. We loved the ease of the incline and declines, the almost constant shade, and the flowers and trees.
As usual, we disliked how busy it was on the weekend, the lack of any real destination, and there was absolutely nowhere to sit, rest, and reflect. If you don't want to go uphill on the way back, start at the end on Tarquit's View Drive.
Hike 2 is the Deer Springs Trail to Suicide Rock. This is one of the most popular hikes in Idyllwild. Beginning at 5,620 feet, the trail climbs to 7,528 feet.
There are definitely challenging sections to this trail, as it begins with a steep section that puts a lot of people off. Stick with it though, it gets a little easier and transitions into more of a moderate trail. As with any moderate trail, there are parts where you are tested, and we really did need our poles at time. But don't these lupines make it worth it?
Once you pass the junction, the views start to get more dramatic. We were very thankful for the cool water, as even at elevation, this hike can be very hot. Once you arrive at Suicide Rock, the views are breathtaking, and we spent a while just staring off into the beautiful vistas.
We love that this hike challenged us in parts, and the change in elevation takes you through some beautiful scenery. We didn't like how busy it was once we arrived, and we took a tip from a fellow traveler. Once you reach the trail end, head over to the right of Suicide Rock for less company. We also found the lack of shade at the top a little difficult when we wanted to eat lunch. Be careful on the way down, as it's pretty steep in places.
For hike 3, we returned to Humber Park to take our first trip up the Devil's Slide to Tarquit's Fire Lookout. Beginning at 6,480 feet and climbing to 8,850 feet, we've now advanced to more challenging hike. This is doable for the moderate hiker, but will challenge any beginner. The Devil's Slide is switchbacks along an old summer cattle route. It gets its name from the fact that the ranchers would take their cattle directly up the hill. No switchbacks for those guys. There are a lot of steps on this trail.
Oh my gosh, there were so many steps.
This water is usually available year-round, but make sure you have enough for your hike, as after this, there is no available water. At the top of Devil's Slide, you reach Saddle Junction, where you can go to many different hikes, but we headed off to Tarquit's Peak. From here, you join the Pacific Crest Trail for just a short amount of time. Once again, the views are simply stunning, and we never tire of them. The final push before you reach the lookout is steep and has pretty much a sheer drop to the right, so if you're afraid of heights, be forewarned.
Kat is afraid of heights, but managed to talk herself through this last section. The Fire Lookout has been in constant operation since 1937 and is staffed solely by volunteers. We came back down the same way, and this is where you should heel lock your boots. Your feet will thank you. If you don't know how to do this, we've put the link up above.
We loved the challenge of this hike, the views from the peak, and the history of the lookout. We disliked the crowds, again, the sheer drops before reaching the lookout, and the lack of shade once you leave the saddle. For hike number 4, we return to the Devil's Slide in Humber Park, and we've gone up a level to a hard hike to Round Valley. Once again, we begin at 6,480 feet and trekked up to 9,060 feet. We will point out that this was a weekend hike for us. The Devil's Slide did not get any easier, but you come to love or loathe these switchbacks. And you're always rewarded with a view. Made it up to the junction, Saddle Junction, where the trail splits, and you can go up to San Jacinto Peak, which we did a couple of weeks ago.
Once we left Saddle Junction, we headed off to Long Valley via Skunk Cabbage Junction. We rested and had a Zen lunch at the peaceful Willow Creek crossing, 2 miles from the saddle. Another 2.5 miles up, the trail enters the Hidden Divide Natural Preserve, which was sadly a victim of the Cranston Fire of 2018.
This section of the trail was overgrown and difficult to stay on the trail in places. We found a GPS was a must.
It was just another mile and a half when we were at the Round Valley Camp.
This is one of our longest hikes at 9 miles and 3,000 feet elevation gain.
We love the vivid green fern areas, the wildlife, and of course the views. We really dislike the burn areas, the overgrown section of the preserve, and the sheer length of the hike with heavy packs. Our final hike is the mother of all hikes in Idyllwild, in our opinion. I have to share that Kat did not want to do this hike, and she wasn't happy when it was planned into our schedule.
But I did go along, and guys, it is hard. The Marion Mountain Trail is rated difficult on all trails, and that doesn't quite cut just how steep and tough this trail is. We stopped to rest a lot. It wasn't just that it was steep, it was mainly huge steps with a greater step up than knee height. There are blessings along the way with unimagined beauty for sure, but man, it was tough.
It's approximately 3 miles in before you officially reach the San Jacinto Wilderness. At the Deer Springs Junction, you join the Pacific Crest Trail for just half a mile before heading up again. Over the next mile, we gained 1,000 feet in elevation. Although this hike was only 4 miles in total, we gained 3,500 feet.
What this trail did not lack was water. We crossed this water about 6 times before reaching the camp. We cannot stress enough how worth it was to do this difficult hike. Yes, it was tough. Yes, we hated life for a while. And yes, it pushed us almost beyond our limits. But just look at this place. This was once again a weekend hike for us, and the following day we headed up to San Jacinto Peak.
Idyllwild has so much to offer when it comes to hiking. Whether you're a beginner, someone getting back into hiking, or you climb peaks every weekend. It's got it all.
We hope you enjoyed this video sharing our favorite hikes in and around Idyllwild. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button so YouTube knows. It really does help us out. You can also follow us on social media.
Hey, if you're not a subscriber yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. We drop new videos every Wednesday and Saturday.
Stay tuned for our next video in the town of Idyllwild, where we visit with local restaurateurs, coffee roasters, and ice cream parlors, all with hiking tips and ideas as we enjoy this beautiful mountain resort town.
From Kat and Kev, your wilderness wanderers, we'll see you on the trail.